Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're jumping into something pretty fundamental, really. It affects, well, everything we do. It's the connection between your mind and your body.
That's right. So easy to think of them as, separate buckets. Mind here, body there.
Exactly. But we're going to explore just how tangled up they actually are, especially, with how crazy life is these
It's
days.
more relevant than ever. And for this, we looked at a really interesting discussion. It was on the EDP English Dialogue podcast channel.
Oh, yeah.
Their episode, Transform Your Life Today, English podcast, Learn English, they really nailed down this whole relationship.
Okay, cool. So our goal here, our mission, if you like, is to kind of pull out the key stuff for you about this mind-body link, like
hmm
how your thoughts, your feelings actually create ripples in your physical self.
And how the state of your body feeds back into your head, into your mood, your focus.
Totally. So think of this as, I guess, the highlights reel, a way to get up to speed on why this matters and maybe grab a few ideas to, feel a bit better.
Sounds good.
Okay, so first things first. When we say mind-body connection, what are we actually talking about? Like the basic idea.
Right. So at its core, it's really about this constant two-way street. Communication happening all the time between your thoughts, your emotions, and what's physically happening in your body.
A two-way street. I like that.
Yeah, it means recognizing that, what's going on upstairs can have very real, tangible effects downstairs, physically.
Okay.
And just as importantly, how your body feels. If you're tired or in pain or energized, that massively shapes your mental state. It's not just sometimes, it's ongoing, a constant loop.
Gotcha. So the EDP podcast, you mentioned they used stress as an example of the mind affecting the body. How did that work?
Yeah, that was a great example. They talked about chronic stress, the kind that just hangs around.
Mm-hmm. The day-to-day grind kind.
Exactly. Yeah. And how that triggers the release of cortisol. And cortisol isn't bad in short bursts. It's your fight or flight thing, right? It
Okay.
helps you react.
Right, gives you that jolt.
But the problem is when the stress doesn't go away, then those cortisol levels just stay high. And here's the key thing. That feeling stressed, it isn't just in your head.
Ah, okay.
That constant cortisol dump can actually suppress your immune system, makes you more likely to get sick.
Wow.
Yeah, and it can raise your blood pressure, contribute to weight gain, so that worry you're carrying, it's physically changing things in your body.
That really drives it home. It's not just a feeling, it's,
Yeah.
yeah, biological. Okay, so let's flip it. How does our physical state mess with our heads?
Well, physical activity is probably the best example here. We all kind of know exercise is good for us, right?
Sure, physically.
Right, but mentally too. When you exercise, your body releases endorphins. Think of them as natural mood lifters. They give you that runner's high feeling sometimes.
Nature's happy pills, I've heard them called.
Exactly. And it's not just about feeling good during the exercise. It also helps lower the levels of stress hormones, adrenaline, cortisol that are floating around.
Ah, so it clears up the bad stuff too.
Precisely. So staying active, it's not just for your muscles or your heart. It's a really powerful way to manage anxiety, to lift symptoms of depression.
Yeah.
Huge for mental well-being.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So we get the connection now, this two-way street. But what about doing something about it? What practical things did the EDP discussion suggest, stuff people can actually try?
Yeah, they covered quite a few. One big one was mindfulness meditation.
Okay, I hear that term a lot. What does it actually mean?
So basically, mindfulness meditation is it's about training your attention, like
Yeah.
training a muscle. You practice focusing on the present moment, your breath maybe, or sounds around you, without judging what comes up.
Just noticing things.
Yeah, just observing your thoughts and feelings without getting carried away by them.
Mhm.
And doing that regularly seems to really help reduce stress and gives you a bit more control over your emotions.
Does it take long?
Well, the great thing they pointed out is that even 5 minutes a day can start making a noticeable difference.
5 minutes. Okay, yeah, that feels doable. What else? Any other techniques?
Deep breathing exercise, super simple, super powerful.
How does that work, just breathing deeply?
Well, yeah, but consciously.
Hmm.
When you slow down your breath, take really deep, intentional breaths, you're actually activating the part of your nervous system that calms you down. It's called the parasympathetic nervous system.
The rest and digest system.
That's the one. You're basically flipping the switch from stressed out to calm down. They mentioned a specific technique, the 4-7-8 breath.
Oh, yeah, I think I've heard of that. How does it go again?
You breathe in quietly through your nose for a count of 4.
Okay, 4 in.
Then you hold your breath for a count of 7.
Hold for 7.
And then you exhale completely through your mouth, making a whoosh sound for a count of 8.
4, 7, 8. Got it. And that helps with
It can be really good for dialing down anxiety pretty quickly,
Mm-hmm.
and it helps clear your head too, improves focus.
Nice. A little tool for the stress toolkit. What about yoga? That came up too, right?
Yeah, yoga is another fantastic one because it kind of combines a few things. You've got the physical postures, which build strength and flexibility,
Right.
but you're also usually focusing on your breath, like we just
Right.
talked about. And often there's a meditation or relaxation component at the end.
So it's hitting mind and body together.
Exactly. It's inherently holistic. And studies show it's really effective for reducing anxiety and depression symptoms alongside the physical benefits.
Makes sense. Okay, and sleep, we all know we need it, but how did the podcast frame its role in this whole mind-body picture?
Oh, sleep is just,
Mm.
it's huge, foundational, really. When you sleep, your body does its repair work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tissues mend, muscles recover,
Mm-hmm.
but your brain is super active too. It's consolidating memories, basically filing away the important stuff from the day,
Mm-hmm.
and it's processing emotions.
Ah, okay. So if you don't get enough sleep.
Well, all that crucial work gets shortchanged.
Yeah.
Lack of sleep ramps up stress hormones. It messes with your thinking, your concentration.
Yeah, I feel that after a bad night.
Totally. And consistently, poor sleep increases the risk for mental health issues like anxiety and depression.
I knew you.
But the flip side is getting good quality sleep.
Mm-hmm.
It boosts your mood, sharpens your brain, even helps your immune system. It's like a reset for everything.
It really does sound like a non-negotiable then. Not just nice to have, but essential.
Absolutely.
So the EDP discussion also talked about mental health awareness. Why is that so important specifically when we're thinking about the mind-body connection?
Well, it's crucial because, unfortunately, there's still a lot of stigma around mental health.
Great.
Okay. Understanding this mind-body link helps break that down.
Mm.
It shows that mental health isn't this separate, maybe less real thing. It's fundamentally intertwined with your physical health. Your brain is part of your body, after all.
Good point.
So when people grasp that connection, they're often more likely to see taking care of their mental health as just normal health care, not something to be ashamed of. And they're more likely to seek help if you need it.
Right, it normalizes it, makes it part of overall well-being.
Exactly. It encourages a more holistic approach, seeing the whole person.
So how do we actually promote that awareness? What did the podcast suggest?
Education was a big one. Just providing clear, straightforward information. What is mental health? What are the signs someone might be struggling? How does it link to physical health?
Just getting the facts out there.
Yeah, empowering people with knowledge.
Mm.
This could happen through, workshops, maybe stuff online, resources in schools or workplaces.
Makes sense. Information is power. What else?
Creating spaces for open conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Making it okay to talk about this stuff.
Reducing the stigma directly.
Exactly. Fostering communities, whether at work or school or online, where people feel safe sharing their experiences without being judged. Hearing personal stories can be incredibly powerful. It makes it real, humanizes it.
Yeah, stories connect people. That's really important. Anything else on the practical side?
Well, ensuring that help is actually available and affordable. That's key.
Access to resources.
Right. Things like counseling, therapy, advocating for better mental health services and policies that make it easier for people to get the support they need when they need it. You can have all the awareness in the world, but if the help isn't there.
True. Awareness needs to lead to accessible action. Okay, so let's bring this right down to the individual level. For someone listening right now, what kind of daily things did the EDP podcast mention that could help nurture this mind-body connection? Small stuff.
Yeah, lots of practical things.
Yeah.
Regular physical activity came up again. Doesn't have to be intense marathon training,
Right.
Even just a brisk 15, 20-minute walk most days. That's a great start.
Okay, simple movement.
And maybe pairing that with a few minutes of mindfulness, like we talked about the deep breathing, or just sitting quietly and noticing your breath.
So move your body, calm your mind.
Basically, yeah. And prioritizing sleep, aiming for that consistent quality rest. And diet's important too. Yeah. What you eat really does affect your mood and energy. So trying to get nutritious food, staying hydrated.
Fueling yourself properly. Makes sense. What other daily habits?
Making time for things you actually enjoy. Hobbies, activities that just make you feel good.
Like what?
Could be anything, really. Painting, playing music, gardening, reading a good book, whatever helps you de-stress and just feel engaged and happy. That strengthens the connection, too.
Yeah, finding joy. Important.
Definitely. And social connections. They really emphasize this. Spending quality time with friends, family, people you care about.
That support system.
Exactly. Meaningful conversations, feeling connected, that's huge for emotional support and mental health.
So it's not just about being alone with your thoughts, it's connection too.
Absolutely. Oh, practicing gratitude.
Gratitude, how does that fit in?
Well, consciously taking a moment each day to think about things you're thankful for, big or small, it kind of shifts your focus.
Yeah.
Helps you notice the positive, even when things are tough. And that can genuinely reduce stress and boost well-being.
Like keeping a gratitude journal, maybe.
Yeah, that's a great way to do it, just jotting down a few things. And finally, just general stress management techniques.
Such as?
Things like managing your time effectively, learning to say no, sometimes setting boundaries, but making sure you take actual breaks during the day, preventing that burnout feeling.
Right, pacing yourself. Okay, that's a great list of everyday strategies. Now, sometimes those things aren't quite enough, right? When did the podcast suggest someone should maybe think about getting professional help? What are the signs?
Yeah, that's a really important point. They suggested looking out for persistent feelings of um, sadness or anxiety or just overwhelming stress that really start to interfere with your daily life,
Interfering how?
like making it hard to go to work or school, affecting your relationships. Maybe you just can't concentrate like you used to.
Okay.
Other signs could be big changes in appetite or sleep, either way too much or way too little, or maybe pulling away from friends and activities you normally enjoy, or just a lingering feeling of hopelessness.
So when it's really impacting your ability to function and feel okay over time?
Exactly. And if that's happening, professionals like therapists, counselors, even your regular doctor, they have the training and tools to help you figure things out and develop coping strategies.
It's good to know those signs. And what about actually making that step to get help? That can feel daunting.
Totally. But they really stressed, and I think this is key, that reaching out is a sign of strength. It shows self-awareness. It's not weakness.
Right. Taking care of yourself.
Yes. And you don't have to go through it alone. Support is available. Sometimes, they suggested, a good first step, if you're feeling hesitant, is just talking to someone you trust.
Yeah.
A friend, family member, maybe your doctor.
Just opening up the conversation.
Yeah. Sometimes just saying it out loud can make a difference and help you figure out what to do next. Small steps.
Small steps definitely add up. Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive, based on that EDP podcast discussion, what's the main takeaway? The core message about this mind-body link.
I think the biggest thing is just how deeply connected they are. Your mental health and physical health aren't separate issues. They constantly influence each other.
Right, that two-way street.
Exactly. So taking care of your mind is just as vital as taking care of your body,
Yeah.
and the other way around. Actively nurturing that connection, maybe through some of the things we talked about, can really improve your overall quality of life. And remembering that asking for help when you need it, that's a really positive, courageous step on that journey.
Absolutely. It's all interconnected. Care for the whole system. Okay, so final thought for everyone listening. Considering how deeply intertwined your mind and body really are, what's maybe one small concrete change you could make starting today, even, to nurture both at the same time? Something to think about.
Good question to ponder.
Definitely. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us today.